Hello, gentlemen. How are we doing? Mr. Clinton, how are you doing, sir? Are you good?
And I am fantastic, my friend. Doing well,
Yeah,
thanks.
yeah. Good to have you on board, sir. Thank you so much for taking out the time to jump on and come and sharpen us here. As we know that you are taking the wheel today. You'll be driving, and I'm so excited about it.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, gentlemen, I hope that you guys had a great start to the week. We're halfway through it, and obviously it's half term next week, isn't it?
So
Um,
I heard. I was like, whoa.
yeah, and then it's Easter, and
Yeah,
then
and
it's
it's
school
already
holidays.
also halfway through the month, isn't it?
I'm telling you, and once Easter comes, then school holidays, and then wow, Christmas is
It's
here,
Christmas
man.
again, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Wow, but we're really excited to be on here, and we are glad
Yes.
that you guys are tuning in. Welcome, welcome. We've got somebody on there. Thank you so much for jumping on. Well, we are going to continue the conversation today, and over the past few weeks, we've been talking about the importance of having an amazing or a great self-image as men. Why is that important? Because it affects each and every area of our life,
Yes.
and we want to carry on with that, and we want to kind of like we want to make sure that we kind of like continue to dig in deep on that one there, um, because it's foundational, isn't it? It's a foundation that we have to get right.
Yes.
So, Mr. Clinton, over to you, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I have been working on this. I have been thinking on this. And the reason why I wasn't here last week is because I went to a very awesome business seminar where they spoke about some of these same things coincidentally. So I was so excited, couldn't wait, um, and I actually struggled missing that session last week. So I'm happy to be here tonight. All right.
Awesome,
So
awesome.
what I want to touch on, and I want to ask a couple of questions,
Mm,
is whose self-image are you working on? And
right.
you will probably get where I'm coming from, because in the past couple of weeks, remember, we were speaking about be careful about comparison. Yeah, comparing yourself with other people.
Yeah.
And also, while you're working on this, what are you holding on to? And the biggest of questions of all, do you actually believe what you're doing? Do you believe what you're working on? Do you believe that this person or image or whatever you've created, do you believe that can be attained? Because what most important in this entire thing, that you've got to do this for you. Don't do it because you need to look good. So you're creating an image for the public and an image for everybody else, you don't care. Right? Because you are not going to reap the benefits. You will not enjoy the journey. You will not enjoy the process.
Mm,
You would only be heading for what they call delayed gratification, which is you
mm,
say, well, when I finish doing that, I will chill out and enjoy. But you're supposed to enjoy the process, the journey, because that is living, that is life. So, where I'm going with this is that I do want to remind us, hey, the man himself, Dr. Chidozi.
Good evening, all.
hello, sir.
Good evening. Good evening and welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, where I'm going with this is for us to um, put at the forefront and in our subconscious that you got to do this for you. You cannot be holding on to an elephant, some old chains, two kangaroos, and a falcon. What I'm trying to get at is all of your old stuff when you are working on self image to become you. The other thing is, when you're doing this process, remember, whether we want to admit it or not, there got to be a God somewhere. And we were created, so we are here with a purpose. So there's no such thing as you existing and have no purpose and you have no place and you're useless. That is not true. That is a lie from the king of lies. Okay? You are here with a purpose. You have to live in order to see that purpose and be part of that purpose. And working on your self-image will help to bring that purpose to the surface. Because when you work on that feverishly and realizing that you're open to change, you are open to learning, you are open to gravitating to the things to which you know there is somehow this thing is calling you, whatever it is. For example, you might be placed here to be the best accountant ever, to be able to share your experience in accounting that can impact lives. That might sound like a big thing, to be honest. Let's digress a little bit. You might just have a knack for cleaning. Next thing you know, you've invented a product. If you carry on with this thing that's nagging away with you. So don't disregard things that are there, consistently nagging at your head. You should try to learn this. You should do that. Don't disregard the stuff where you all of a sudden you come alive when a conversation about that particular thing starts.
Mm.
When somebody says to you, hey, you seem to be really good at that, and you put yourself down and say, boy, I don't even have a degree in that stuff. I don't know what you're talking about. But you find people gravitate to you when you talk about it. Right? Where am I getting with this? All of it connects to you becoming the person that you would like to become, the better you than you were yesterday. It is a moment by moment process. So that's why I asked the question again, what are you holding on to? Don't hold on to traditions. Don't hold on to comparison. Don't hold on to negatives that people would have said when you say, you know what, I really love doing this. And somebody said, that's a stupid idea. You got to be foolish to do that. No. Because are you doing it to prove them wrong? Or do you believe what you say so much that you have worked on yourself and speaking to yourself about it? I'm talking about the positives here. So that you get to a stage now where you are driving this thing like never before. For some of us who might be Christians, I want to bring your attention to Genesis 1, verse 26. When God said, let us make man in our image according to our likeness. Yeah. So there is no question ever whether we want to accept Christianity, Hindu, whatever faith you think you fit into. It all comes down to a fact that there is a higher power, there is a God, and we were created to do something more meaningful than what somebody tries to put into your head as mediocre. Okay? The other thing I want to point out to you is, and ask us is, have you created a false image, a made-up image, and working to become like that? Let me say something. You can take inspiration from Jeff Bezos, his life, but there's also what you don't know. He's made a lot of mistakes, dumb ones. He's got areas of his life that you do not even want to hear about. Yeah. So if you create this thing in your head, I want to be just like Jeff Bezos. No. I wouldn't suggest you do that. Because you are not working on it for you. You are working on it to get the attention of Jeff Bezos or the attention like what he gets. Be careful what you choose to work on. So when you are making the choices about this, my encouragement to all of us is this. For those of us who are Christians, I would say remember to let go and let God guide you. Very important. It makes the process easier. You enjoy the process. For those of us who are not, I would say to you, you be grateful for where you've come from to where you are now, but do not base where you would like to be on somebody else's story, on somebody else's narrative. Don't go researching and copying their narrative. Be inspired by their story. Be inspired by their narrative. But don't operate in their likeness. You will reap the both good and bad. So if you're married and all of a sudden you realize the marriage breaking down, and this might sound horrible to say this, but when you're going after certain things in your life, if you don't take the time to look carefully, something will give, something will pay the price. And therefore, hey, Andrew, welcome, sir.
Good day, gents.
Good day. And therefore, you could end up in a situation where, you gain the whole world and lose your whole soul. What do I mean by that? You lose your happiness. Something had to pay. So you work hard, have everything, and cannot enjoy it. You lost your family, lost everything. That means the world. You can't get that back the way it was. So my encouragement to us tonight comes twofold. One, a couple of questions. Whose self-image are you focusing on? Are you ready to let go? And then the other question I think I should be asking, do you really believe what you're saying, what you're doing? Or are you doing it to please others and not work on yourself? Guys, I'm open for us to have a chat about this.
And then we sit and we look at each other. Oh man. And when you experience that silence, and you must know Clinton has taken it to another level now. It's like now we got to ponder. Where it's like you're stretching our thinking now, isn't it? You're causing us to dig a little bit deeper. But thank you so much, sir, for sharing that. That's really amazing. And I just want to kind of like bounce back on what you was talking about. The importance of understanding why it kind of like, just with everything that you just said, the law that comes to, I'm a law guy.
Yeah.
it's like as soon as I want to kind of like say something, it's like, all right, which law can support that? But it's kind of like the law of reflection.
Yes.
If you and I don't take out the time to ask ourselves, okay, I'm working on my self-image, I'm working on becoming a better husband, I'm working on becoming a better businessman, I'm working on becoming whatever it is, a better father, you put it in there. Now, I believe it's important for us to take that time to pause, because sometimes we can just continue to run. We can just, without, pulling back and reflect and actually ask myself, is this what I can see right now from where I'm coming from? Is this, is the ladder leaning against the right wall? Because you can climb a ladder, but that thing is not even leaning against the right wall. So that kind of like just revive that question, like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Do I actually know the reason for doing what I'm doing? Because if I have a big enough why, regardless of what obstacles, what challenges you and I will experience on the way, we'll be able to pull through. And yeah, that's kind of like the thing that just stood out to me, that when you just mentioning about that, because to work on our self-image is a challenge.
Yes.
Because one of the things that really kind of like has become real to me is the fact that the real image that you and I have to work on is I think we mentioned it in a couple of sessions ago, is authenticity. It's like, can you become the real you? Can you become the authentic you without being embarrassed? Yeah, there's some people that might not like it. There's some people that like, whoa, this guy, this is not what I thought. No, but because it's easy to become the kind of person that everybody else wants you to be. Yes. And at the end of the day, you don't even know who you are.
Exactly.
Because then I end up living a life to please everybody around me. And when you get to the other side, whatever that presents for you, it's like, no, man, this is not what I was hoping for. And life would be empty.
Yes.
So the big why am I doing what I'm doing? Why are you doing what you're doing? I think that's a question that all of us kind of like need to answer for ourselves, and
continuously,
all the time.
It's like a reiterative question, if that exists. Because every time you've done something and you think you have achieved that bit, there's always another level and another level and another level, or another strand.
Absolutely.
And to be able to be continuously getting better and better and better. We're not talking about perfection. We're just purely talking here about just, getting the why out the way and moving on. And I'll probably want to go a wee bit deeper before anybody else answers. I want to turn the why into an I, and you get the I out the way, right? Because the more you can get you out of the way while you're working on you, that's for another session altogether. But somebody probably should touch on that, as to on a little bit of that, probably Andrew or Chidozie, as to during this process, which is continuous, the more you get you out of the way of what you're doing, you find that the process becomes enjoyable. But when you keep the I, so you're working on you, but it doesn't have to mean that when you're speaking about it and when you're working on the other bits, I am doing this because of this, I am doing self-image today. Yeah, it's not about the I. Because at the end of the process, you become a blessing. You impact others. So probably a little bit too deep, but yeah.
Okay, I see the guys are still on mute. Can I?
No, absolutely.
Oh, there you go. Go for it, sir. Go for it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing, and apologies for turning up a few minutes later than I was supposed to. I had to try and find the right corner to set this thing up, but this was one I was looking very much towards, because I was really I really like the idea. I mean, I think the last time I was talking about starting a trend, and there's something that they call it's called revolution in politics, but in religion, in Christianity, it's called a revival. Revival, my initial view of revival is that God comes down and then knocks a few people, and then they start running and they preach the gospel everywhere, and Jesus is being proclaimed, miracles happening. But then it dawned on me that it's somebody like me that would come out and really understand what they're being told. Or sometimes it's not a brand new voice, but the voice that has been sent thousands of years ago, and they say, you know what, something is going to start today and something is going to change, and so on and so forth. Why I'm talking about this, even though it doesn't look like it's aligned to what we're talking about tonight, is that in that same way, we can tell ourselves all these truths that we've had tonight, and say, you know what, things have happened in the past. I've got it wrong. I've dreamt to become somebody else. I've tried to do this. I've tried to do this that way. But this is a brand new view. This is a brand new opinion, or this is a brand new concept of how I should look at myself, rather than boxing myself up into different personalities and trying to become those personalities, but bringing, extracting myself and understand that whatever is known is now normal. It's only what is not known that will be abnormal or extraordinary. And that's what and I believe that's what the Bible says when it says that the whole creation is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. It sort of pushes me to think that when we really become what we are here to do, there is no way we can be ordinary. It's as simple as that. And if that is the case, then we all have some work to do. There's that dilemma that happens when you look at people and you say, oh, this type of person, or this type of businessman, or this type of religious leader, and want to be like them. But some time ago, I was thinking about it, and I thought, when you tell people don't try and be somebody else, there is that temptation not to try and learn. But there's what I call the recipe approach. You know what you want to be. You have conversations with God as to what you want to be. And what you're looking for, they are recipes. You're not looking for models of what you will become from other human beings. You're looking for those tips, those nuggets that you can get from this person, you get it from that person, depending on what you need at that stage of your journey. But focusing on that person that you want to be, which is going to be authentic, brand new, unique, because we all know that we're all different. We bring different things to the table, and therefore, whatever results that we're producing should be totally different. And if we have that in mind, all we look around will be, what are the recipes I need to get this thing done? The outcome is never going to be the same because it's going to be a unique one. So, I just thought to sort of add these to what Mr. Ritchie has told us tonight, and hopefully there will be, let's not wait for that big ball that smashes and the whole room starts shaking and there's fire in our heads going, oh, the Holy Spirit is right here, let's start. We can just say, you know what, this is it. We'll mark today and we say, now I've realized I've been building towards the wrong personality. I've been building towards the wrong version of me. There is something I wrote some years ago that I call the 3 versions of yourself. And I talked about the first version being who you are right now. And the second version being who you are aspiring to be. Who you are aspiring to be. That is when you see the rock stars, or when you see the preachers, or when you see people who are successful in life, and you say, look, I want to be like that person. That's the second version of what you could become. But the third version is that real you that is totally different from what anybody has seen. And that's what the world is looking for. And that's a choice that we have to continuously make every day, like Clinton was saying earlier, that we have to always ask ourselves that question. Which version are we choosing? Are we choosing the version of who we are right now? And that's the version of, that's fine. I've done my best. Nothing is moving. Nothing moves. Look around the world. Everything is slow. There is no change. There's no difference. What can I do on my own? I don't have anybody to help me. Or you dream to become somebody. But unfortunately, everybody that you know that's successful, that's got good things going for them, those personalities are taken. You're just going to be fake. And it's very easy for people to spot fakes. Or you choose that version that is you. using the recipes of the little building blocks that you will extract from the different people that you have contact with, that you're going to learn from, that you're going to read from, that you're going to listen to, and then put that into the mix of what's already inside you, and use that as a fire to push you towards who you are really, who you were really made or created to be. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I can see we are pondering, sir. We are pondering.
It's over to Andrew. Andrew is ready. He's ready.
Yeah,
You
I think
guys are
that's
scaring me with the quietness.
No, you must
Yeah,
know when it goes quiet, you touch a nerve. You know, you
I
touch.
think there's so many good
you-
things, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think that Jadozi, I think that's how a lot of people feel inside, but they never say it.
Yes.
So good on you for bringing it out and setting it out clearly. Because I think when we grow up, when we're younger, we all have role models. But have you noticed you don't always tell other people who your role models are? Because you might be embarrassed, or you might not be confident in sharing that, in fear of what those people would say. So I believe for everybody, it's a personal journey. It's personal choice. But definitely, you weigh up that role model against other people to filter down what you aspire to, either from what you were taught from your parents, your guardians, those who influence you, until the point where you have to make decisions. You go from, say, a teenager into adulthood. And then if you become isolated, which means those people who were around you, that you built your character around and built your trust around, they're no longer there. You then go into that third person that you want to be, that Jidozi is just talking about. So, and you tap into it and you come out of it, you visit the past, you visit what you learned in the past to build up the person you are right now, the person you were, you're still aware of that, and the person you want to become, never ending. But I think you can't get to where you want to be by ignoring your past. You have to understand the journey. You have to understand the reasons why. And then you can also use where you are right now. I always see it as having the confidence to do something right now because the opportunity is right now.
Yes.
And I remember years ago where I had to make a choice to accept a job in the UK. I've never had an interview physically. I never traveled to the UK. I didn't even know what the city was like. And I had a telephone interview over the phone for, I thought it was going to be 15 minutes, but it ended up being an hour. And after this telephone conversation, I was offered the job and encouraged to see how quick I can actually start. And in my mind I wasn't actually looking for a job abroad. But when opportunities come, you then have to make a choice from all your past experiences. What are you going to do with this opportunity? And you have to make the choice now, because all your thinking then has to change, all your whole approach for going forward. And that's a big change. Let's face it, it's not an easy one. If you haven't been to a country and you're thinking of starting a job and you get offered a position in a town that you've never been. And in my case, my wife was 4 months pregnant and I had to make that choice. So I then go to some people that I trust, and in my inexperience, I get some of the weirdest answers back. one person told me, the recruitment agency, well, nothing ventured, nothing gained. And that confused me because that doesn't solve my dilemma. I still don't know about where I'm going or where I'm going to live. Even my employer, they couldn't guarantee where I was going to stay the first night. They were just eager to get me there on a Friday. And I knew there's a weekend ahead. I don't know where I'm going to lay my head down that first night. But I have to, trust the process and trust the journey. But to do that, you then have to just look at your inner self and find the confidence right there to set things in motion.
Yeah.
And it's small steps to get to where you need to be. Just a funny one. I didn't know where the address was because we didn't have the internet back then with precision. We didn't have like a postcode I could put in and Google Maps and any 3D maps. So I knew the building is in Station Road. And obviously, if I'm traveling from Heathrow, if I can get to the station, then I'm roughly there. And that's just how it worked. Didn't think too much of it. I can get to the station, and I didn't know how long Station Road was, but I didn't have money for a cab. So I was just dragging my bags to my employer's building. And the same evening they put me in a B&B and everything was sorted. But I think sometimes we shouldn't think too much about the detail, but we should think about our experience, our confidence, and our journey, and to value what we are capable of. So without self-belief, you wouldn't take the steps to do the unknown. And that's the challenge for a lot of people. People turn opportunity down because they want to know the detail. And they're not prepared for the unknown. But I think God, when God created us, He gave us everything we need. And I mean, everything over time just accumulates to help you be more prepared. You probably notice you got more confidence than what you would have had maybe at high school. And in high school, you would have had confidence, say, than what you would have had in primary school. So I think we've got a lot of things to work on as individuals, but we should know that we always have the confidence if we put God first and we follow. And God only helps. I think God doesn't only help people who put things in action. He also helps those who are unassured, who don't know what their next steps are. But if you do it out of your own strength, you will find it's better to have God on your side to make a decision and allow God to direct your steps. Because if you do it out of your own strength, you don't have everything that God has to offer, and that's so much more. And you should then have the opportunity to move in the direction that is right for you and meant for you. And my belief is that you're never alone. You might travel alone, you might be in a cab alone, but God is with you and He directs your steps. But it's in the moment where you have to believe and trust God on that journey.
I love that. I really love that, Andrew. Since we brought up, I'm gonna read two scriptures, and then I'm just bearing in mind that some of us watching might not be Christians, but for those of us who are Christians, James 2:1. My brethren, do not hold the faith of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Lord of glory, with partiality. Let's use this within the context. You can't do this process partially. You wouldn't gain. John 11:40, Jesus said to her, "Did I not say to you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God?" So I think for when we started to now, you really got to believe the process you're embarking on. And you got to take it moment at a time. And please remember, it doesn't matter how small the step is that you took. If you just take a simple step, let me give you an example. You decide that you sat down and you thought, I don't feel that great. I probably should do some amount of exercise. Listen to me carefully. If you woke up at 5, but you didn't get to do the exercise, and normally you wake up at 6, that is something still to be proud of. You started the process. It's as simple as that. Then you might go and you do some lazy exercise. You woke up at 5 the next day and you do some lazy stuff. 2 minutes. You have still made progress. It doesn't have to be like the guy who goes to the gym that got big fancy muscles, and or the girl that goes to the gym and she can do some gymnastic moves. You think, wow, she probably got cat family. No. So you gotta believe whatever you setting out to do, believe that you can do it. Okay? And don't get bogged down with the end goal. Get excited about the little steps you're taking, because you're only promised the moment you're in now. There is no promise that you have that you can actually be alive to reach that goal. So live in the moment. Enjoy the process in the moment. It might seem tough. Here's the sweetness. If it gets a little bit tough and it gets challenging, it means that you're onto something. It's not, don't see it as a negative. And then when Andrew was picking up some points there, all his points point straight back. You gotta believe and keep at it. Believe and keep at it. And over time, those steps, yeah? You tell me, if a stairs has 100 steps, can you jump from 1 and end up on 100? Or do you do 1, 2? Maybe if you're young, you might go 1 to 3. Okay? But how long can you keep going 1 to 3 before you get to 100? You would probably burn out, you sit down a little bit. But the guy who got a stick and he going 1, 1, 1, you might be surprised that he at the top sit out, chilling out and waiting on you.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to get at here is, don't compare yourself with other people. If you're going to use comparison, use it for inspiration. Okay? But not to attain what they have. Be careful with that, because that means that you're doing it in their likeness and not the likeness of what you're becoming. And it's an easy process, to be honest. It's only as easy or as hard as you believe it to be. But if you focus on being it step by step by step in this moment, if you set out to do 10 steps, but you only do 1, celebrate it. Be grateful. You have moved.
That's right.
Yeah. And you tell yourself, tomorrow I'm going to do 2. If you do 1.5, you have moved again. Be grateful.
That's right. That's right.
So that's what I.
You know, you really mentioned something that's really powerful. I don't know whether you actually realize what you just said. let me echo that. But
do.
It's really powerful, because, you know, I believe that human beings in general, that's just me believing. Yeah, obviously you have your own thought on that. I think many of us don't really live. because we either live in the past or we live in the future,
Yes.
but we never live in the present.
Yes.
Just think about it. Yeah, whenever you have a conversation, most of the conversations you and I most probably had today is based on what I did either last week or what I did last year or what I did or yesterday, or what is to come tomorrow, what is to come next month, next year. But what about the now, right now, at that minute? Do you and I even know what's in our environment? What is, it's like we are not aware.
Yes.
Yeah, so we actually we are not living, because the thing is, you just said tomorrow is not even guaranteed.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we still dwell on yesterday or last week, but there's nothing we can do about it. Yes, you and I we can learn the lessons, but what about right now? That's why it's called the present. It's a gift. The very fact that you and I are sitting right now here and having this conversation, there's no other moment more precious than this. Why is that? Because right here, right now, you can say something that can just impact my life forever. I can say something that can impact your life forever. Forget about tomorrow. Okay, maybe not saying it so strong, but we don't live life. And most of the conversations we have, it's not about like, man, just pick up this coffee is beautiful, man. It smells like you are here, you are present. And I think when we kind of like have that kind of a shift in our thinking, number one, we will become more grateful, because there's some people that did not wake up today. I know that can become like a cliche. Oh, I'm so grateful. But do you really actually realize that do I actually realize what I'm saying? That I have a gift, the fact that I'm actually able to have a conversation with you guys here today. It's amazing. And the thing is, if once we get to a place where remember that even what I've mentioned earlier, because sometimes we don't slow down. It's like, it's always like, my goals, or I gotta. No. Pause, bro. Slow down. Reflect.
Yes.
Because there's something that happens. Even to come back to there's something that you said earlier. You said something about, okay, maybe what I'm going to say now might sound a little bit contradictory, or might sound a little bit controversial.
Go for it now.
But let me put it like this. It's like you mentioned something about putting self aside.
Yes.
Because it's not about you. And I fully understand what you say, what you mean when you say that. Because life is not so much about you and I as an individual. It's about the impact that we can have in this generation, the impact that you and I can have within our community, within our family. But you know what? Until you and I get the I right.
Yes.
Until you see, you and me will never really be able to make a real impact until we go inside. That's why.
That's why he said, whose self-image are you working on?
That's right. The thing is, can I boldly say that? When you use the word I, usually it's linked with arrogance. It's linked with being cocky. It's linked with being you are full of yourself. But can you fully say that, I am handsome. I am handsome. I am intelligent. I am rich. I am prosperous.
And that's mixing now. You have to believe that to be in the present.
Absolutely. And the thing is, can you and I actually say that with such confidence without feeling any guilt? Because if I can say that with so much confidence without thinking, oh my goodness, what are they going to think about me if I say that I'm amazing? Yes, I am amazing.
There you go.
You got to be able to say that without any guilty conscience. Because if I haven't reached that stage where I can say that, the way that you and I will be able to impact other people's lives will be will be on a very shallow level, because you will be driven by a lot of insecurities. You will be driven by being competitive, because I am not secure in who I am. But if I can find my center and I know, you know what, I am enough.
Yes.
I know that looking now to the future, I know that I can grow and become better. But where I am right now, I am enough. For those that are in my world, for those that I'm connected to, I am enough. Yes, I am striving and I'm pushing towards becoming better. But what I'm working on right now is become centered and know that the things that's already on the inside of me, everything that is on the inside of me already pertain to life and godliness. Everything is already there. And that can be used to impact and to make a difference and to make a change.
Here's an
Right
exciting thing about this, an exciting thing about what you just said.
Mm.
And this might be funny to some, but funny to others, but I found it funny. Here's the deal. So a mixture of some English and then some Rastafarian bits. I need not to be absent in the present. You cannot afford not to be present in the present moment. I'm going to give you why in a second that I think so. But here's the other thing, and 2 examples I'm going to give you. So your son or daughter has been chosen at school to be part of the debating team. Before going on the stage, he or she begins to get nerves. You, the parent, pulls her aside or him aside and says, "You can do this. Watch at me. Watch at me. Say after me. I can do this. I'm going to go out there. I am going to be awesome. And I'm going to make my team awesome." Yeah? Okay. So you do that as a parent, you know? You help them to psych them up and get them ready. Okay. Then, next example. You're going for a job. You have been through 500 applications, a mass of applications, phone calls. Even before you start talking, they zone out. Shh, the phone get cut off. Finally, you get the interview. The amount of time you fix the tie, or if it's a girl, the amount of time she makes sure that the jacket fit properly and there's no dust and all of that, and the hairdo and all of that. And then the night before, you're thinking, yes, I can, because you really want this. Do you know that you're not only speaking it, but you're acting that you believe in you? And this is where you're confronting the I before you can showcase anything to anybody. This is where you're being you. You understand? Where you're being bold enough to take that step. Why am I highlighting this? Not every one of us are at that stage where we can boldly speak to ourselves, where we can even highlight the fact that we need to do some work. Many of us showcase it, but we don't believe it. So we have good things in us and somebody say, "Man, listen, you should be a coach," or "Why don't you become a professional painter?" Thinking, boy, what stupidness you talking. I can't even paint a dog for the life of me. You're asking me to go and become a professional painter? The man is like, who did this? I just play around and do that in my spare time. No. Don't do that to yourself. Somebody is spotting your potential. Ask yourself a question about it. Another reason why I brought that up is this, and I started to speak about the now, and it's something I am working on myself. Because I've had a party in my honor and didn't even know the party was about me. I didn't even know it was my party. We're talking about years ago. I was told about this party 18 years later. And that's when I asked my mom, "So really? She's like, yes. I said, my goodness, how could you be present in a situation but absent? I was worried about so many other things that had to do with the future that I had no idea what was happening in the now. I didn't even know. People around me are enjoying and talking about my party. I didn't even know I had a party. Right? It's true. I did not know. So 18 years later, I said to my dad, thank you for throwing that party. And I'm now trying to remember the moments and recollect the moments and recollect the people who celebrated me. I can't remember how I was absent. Okay, here's something a little bit more sober, but I'm going to share it. Yesterday, I lost a dear friend of mine. When his wife told me today how he passed away, it couldn't be more perfect for me to get my head into gear. He died from a heart attack on the door of his car, holding on to it. So he went to buy some items with his wife in the vehicle. Go to start the vehicle wouldn't start. This is after he comes back with whatever he's got. So he gets out of the car to make a call to the mechanic. On his return to the car, she sees he's fumbling and hold on to the door, and that was it. Obviously, there were plans about the future because they were going to go home and do something with this stuff that they're buying. Yeah. Obviously, the past was that they had to get to this place, so they got to the place. Not in this country, it happened. But what I'm trying to show you is that just in that moment there, the moment of going home or going wherever they were going to do what they need to do, that moment was not promised. The only moment they had is that exact moment when she's seeing right there and then everything is happening. And she's asking him, are you okay? What's happening? And gets no response, only to come out and realize he's gone. Why did I share that? I need to bring it home as clear as I can to all of us here and all of us watching. Whatever we're doing, whatever we're aiming for, whatever our goals, whether we're in a good place or bad place mentally, we need, like what Kendrick said, you have to be in the moment. If you keep skipping the moments and postponing things for later on, I'm going to enjoy when the cheers come. I am going to relax in the sun when the hammock comes, because that's the only way I can get to full relaxation. Listen, man, go lie down in the grass and enjoy the sun. Go walk in the sun and enjoy the sun, if your aim is to enjoy the sun. Sometimes you say to yourself, I wish I could go and enjoy the outside, but I think I need a bicycle first. You don't have the bicycle now. If you can just take a little walk, just go do it. Whatever you can do now, especially when it involves other people, do it now, because the now is promised. The now can have a bigger impact than you think. So, be present in the now and be present in your own life, in your own decisions. Don't be absent. Don't make a decision, then other people doing it, and then you're not there. But you're the one that makes the decision. Oh, so your wife asks you, babe, what are we going to eat tonight? You say, look, can you make us some lovely sandwiches, please? And she said, oh, that would be lovely. The family, we can have fun. And then she says, babe, are you ready to eat? And you're like, oh, no, you go ahead. Actually, you can. You don't know if maybe your teenage son or daughter may have something that they want to ask you that night, but they're just waiting for the right moment. But you're absent. Yeah? A friend calls you up and say, listen, you know what? Business friend, maybe whatever. Let's meet for a coffee. Now, you may have space to go. You may have, don't put it off. You actually do not know in that moment that was created there what blessing there is for you. Because it never stops at you if it's a blessing. It always has an impact. So I implore us, it's never a big task to work on ourselves in any form or fashion. Just believe you can do it. And small steps consistently can amount to a great blessing. I think everybody went mute.
Yeah. No, that's
Thank-
awesome, Clinton.
Yeah, absolutely. That's,
Yeah, what comes
that's
to
a-
mind is
that's a really good one. I don't know what else to add to that, but it's amazing, the reality of life, how we live in this illusion that life is not what it is, but this is reality. This is real life we're talking about here. So thank you so much for sharing that. I don't think we have a choice than to start doing something about it. Start doing something about it rather than waiting for those perfect moments, which never occurs and will never occur possibly for any of us until you do something. When I started, I was talking about creating those magic moments, creating those revivals yourself, instead of waiting for something that's going to create a revival, attempting to do it. Now we know what the reality of life is. Just make a few attempts. And one of these days, you're going to break through. And people will wonder, oh, how did this happen? It's just by getting up, believing in yourself, taking hold of the moment, and taking hold of your day, and moving the needle as farther in the future as you can, rather than waiting for perfect time, perfect people, perfect this, perfect, which in most cases is not there. So thank you so much for sharing that. That's quite inspiring. Um, I'm sure we owe you, and you owe us something that's going to sort of align with the message that you've shared as well tonight. That's why we're here, to not just the four of us, but whoever is going to watch this later, whoever is watching online, is to challenge ourselves, and show results based on what we are sharing, because a lot of wisdom has happened here. What we must remember is, when people are gathered like this, God is there. There are some ideas that's going to flow in, and then you'll be making a mistake by thinking, oh, I'm really clever, look, I just said this and so on, but the Holy Spirit comes in and he puts in one thing, two things there, and so on, and we leave the meeting charged and ready to do more, not just to become the same, because it would be bad if we get all these information and all this inspiration, and we fail to catch the fire.
Andrew, you had something also, mate.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's when you refer to the I think of it scripture. It says, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, at night when we sleep, we're not really conscious as much. We sleeping, and in the morning when we wake up, we thank God for giving us that opportunity. A lot of people actually think, what am I doing today? They quickly run through their plans for the day. And what you thought of yesterday, the day before, is not the same, because you've got a new day ahead of you. You're in the moment, and you've got 10,000 things running through your mind. But God gives us the strength. So we look at the story of the two builders. You either get people who have lazy tendencies or active people who put things in motion. And inaction is the opposite. You choose one or the other. And the consequences of inactivity is a total collapse of the house. Because you just try and not do anything in the house for a week. Don't clean, don't hoover, don't wash up the dishes, and we'll see the chaos. But those small steps of every day doing what needs to be done, and teaching our kids as well to pick up the clothes from the floor, put it in the basket, do all those kind of things. I think that activity and appreciating the things we do in the moment means we can sometimes even enjoy the most mundane activities. But we know collectively it builds up to a clean house, your teeth being white, for instance, brushing regularly. All those small kind of things that we sometimes take for granted, we can enjoy. But we have to be active, and we have to look at it now, and we don't leave it for someone else. We use the I, like you mentioned, and we bring it to ourselves and how we can impact those around us. Starts with the family, I guess, and then further from there.
Awesome stuff. Oh my goodness. Mr. Richie, you took it home, sir. You brought it on big time. Thank you so much, sir. And we've reached, unfortunately, these good conversations have to come to an end. Otherwise, all of us will be sleeping in the garage or in the couch downstairs. So we've got to wrap it up. But thank you so much, gentlemen. Clinton, great job, sir. We really appreciate all that wisdom you brought and how you've sharpened us this evening. And let's do it again next week.
Absolutely.
And all right, gentlemen. And
Yeah.
I like what Chidozi said earlier. You know, we cannot come together like this, have all of this wisdom flowing and, you know, just understanding coming and, you know, all the sharpening taking place. And then we go, but we're not doing anything about it. So kind of like if it means go back and listen to this again, do that. And kind of like, you know, at least let us take one thing from there, or if you can take a whole list, then do that. But find something that you can actually practically, you know, implement in let's implement some of the stuff in our lives. And because that's what we're after change. But change will not happen until we put action to what we hear. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for coming out. Have an amazing week, and we will see you again next week. All right. Have an awesome week.
Thanks, everyone.
Right. Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Sorry about your loss, Mr. Richie. All the best, guys. God bless you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.